Um, I started this podcast with the idea that I would talk a little more and understand the experiences of people other than mine, learn more about neurodivergence. And as I learn about it, you and I could go through that journey together. I recorded 4 episodes, and suddenly a slump came over me, right? Oh, I just couldn't get myself to reach out to anybody and say, "Can I speak with you about this topic?" It's it's a it's a weird place to be in, you see. Um, Let me give you context. Many years ago, I started writing. I continuously posted a blog for about 120, 130 days and on and off. I wanted to learn baking. And it was one opportunity. I had to learn something new. I was in a new city, and immediately I learned baking. And the thing about me is, I need all the right tools for it before I start doing something, right? I wanted to start a library for my sons and probably enable children around me to access books or make books more accessible. I have about 1,000 books around my home. The library is yet to start. My books are wrapped and they're stamped with the name of the library. Everything's done, but I have not been able to take that final step of creating it. I wanted to write something and I published a couple of books for children. The books were made, I self-published it. I went through the entire process. I paused. I couldn't get myself to market it. I couldn't get myself to talk about it again and again and go to the spiel. I had done my part. I had learned how to do it. I had figured what I had to say and I did it, and it paused. So that's one part of it. The second part of it is that the learning that I wanted had happened. I had executed it. But the moment it just came to anything that was daily, mundane activity, which didn't excite me anymore, I would let it go. I would keep it for some other day. I didn't know how to start a podcast. I had done everything else. I've done websites. I've done everything else. I create on a daily basis for work, etc. This, for some reason, was an idea that had come into my mind years ago when podcasts opened up. And had I acted upon it, maybe things would have been different or not. Because, as I said, I'm 4 episodes down and I'm in a slump. Is this normal? Years I would beat myself up for starting up things and not finishing it up. A broken marriage only made things worse because I blamed myself for the inability to take on responsibilities and finish it, start projects and finish it. In my head, my projects were always incomplete, undone, till I realized that this is the basic aspect about ADHD. You have so many interests. And when you are interested in something, you have something called hyperfocus, which means that if today ADHD was your interest point, you will pick up every single book. You will pick up every website possible. You will pick up anything and everything and read it up and obsess over it and learn about it till something else catches your interest. So, and I had failed to diagnose myself or had never got a diagnosis. The interesting piece is that years ago, my son was diagnosed with ADHD and dysgraphia. And when that happened, I was obsessed. I got into it. I took a course. I did a diploma in special eds. I have spoken to lots of people. I have written about some of this. I have read lots and lots of books on it. Again, I deep dived, but not for a single minute did I connect my behavior and his. Even when everybody around us said things like, oh my God, these are just two different bodies who function so similarly, different gender, different age group, but the same attitude, same behavior. Um, I never made the connection till my therapist did and spelled it out for me. And it was boom. So, what I'm trying to tell you is that the challenges that we think about neurodivergence uh, are not as simple as they seem. And it's very easy to consider it boredom, laziness, lack of interest. But for someone like me, to become extremely successful at something is very, very challenging, because after I've done something for a few years, it's lost its shine, it's lost its interest. I am completely done with that aspect. There's nothing to look forward to about it, right? And as I was stuck in this rut, and before I have signed up or reached out, I figured all the excuses in the world. Let me, for example, I went across my social media page, and when I look at my Instagram page, because it's only about special needs and neurodivergence, the lot of the feed that comes up is about aspects and about people who are training others. A lot of people who are giving value addition to children, to people with special needs, to neurodivergence. So my brain saying, what more can you tell people? There are a lot of specialists who who are fabulous at their jobs, and counselors who are doing their bit. And there are so many other people who are successfully taking this information. What more can someone like me give you, or give anybody else engaging with me? And you see the cycle again. I have made every possible reason to tell myself that what I am doing has no value. And therefore, I have written myself off, written my initiative off. And then every time else that I see others slug through and go on, I tend to beat myself up saying, see, they managed to continue, they can contribute so much to the world. You aren't capable. Okay. So with every new project, I manage to hit myself and my personal self down by a couple of notches, right? And while I was stuck, and it's not like, you can let go of things easily. The guilt of it also sticks with you. And Saturday, I woke up and at around 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I need to go for a walk. And I walk my dogs. And that's when it all suddenly came to me as to how where I was right now is such a regular symptom of neurodivergence, and how it's important for me to let people know that this is the cycle. This is the cycle that people like me with ADHD, with ADD, whatever name you know it by, get stuck in. And it's not that we extremely bright, intelligent, passionate people who seem to not hit the mark. There are reasons beyond our understanding, and there are reasons that make no sense to you or me. And we are out there invalidating everything we do on our own without any criticism, without any negative feedback. And when you are around someone like that and you give them any kind of negative feedback or tell them how um, they have not reached their potential, and you use sentences like if only, um, it is challenging. It is challenging for people like me who listen and know better than anybody else that they have not reached their potential. They have not done the best they could, or they could have. While in reality, they're constantly doing, and they're constantly struggling, and they're constantly creating, and they're constantly making, but they never reach the potential that they could have. And it's important for you to understand that every sentence that you say to somebody who's neurodivergent, with their rejection sensitivity and their broken uh
Mommy,
yes,
but has been cut.
okay, I'll come to you. See, we are constantly busy. We're constantly busy doing things, taking care of our children, doing our work. And right now, I have to take care of my street dog who's hurt. And to my right is a little kitten who I'm fostering because somebody abandoned her.
We have two dogs.
And we have two dogs. Um, so when people say, or when we compare ourselves to others who have um, hit the jackpot on content creation, for example, or doing or building 100,000 subscribers, or sitting on $1 million, whatever this, or the perfect family, or the perfect job, or whatever your standards are, you know, it's very easy for us to go into the trap of whatever you do, it's not going to be good enough anyways. Or um, why does any of this matter? Because it doesn't really matter. There are various versions that we tell ourselves. And it's for you to have a conversation with those around you, with what they are facing. And sometimes it's just about uh, having a very interesting, and if you can see this, I'm recording a podcast and I have distractions galore. And for somebody who is the inattentive type, it is very easy to get sucked in to that conversation which is going on here between my dogs and the kitten I am fostering. They're trying to get at each other. It's very easy to go and get sucked into that. Um, or the number of messages that keep coming to me for my work, um, or to the pet that's outside and asking for help, or to the people who are staying in my home and might need my attention. It's very easy. It's very easy to get distracted. And unless I'm hyper focused, unless I'm pushing myself with motivators that are far, far, far stronger than what would motivate you on a regular day, it's very difficult to keep everything together. So be kind, be gentle. And I just wanted to share with you that neurodivergence is invisible. And even with the most interesting people who have it all, the struggles might not be visible to you. And a kind word or a thoughtful smile is all that it takes to keep them going. And yeah, so today's podcast is about how there is no podcast and why there is no podcast and why we've been on such a long break and why I have not been able to get myself to write to some of the people who have promised me to have a chat. And I don't know if this makes sense to you. I hope it does. We are all trying to figure it out one day at a time, one conversation at a time.